Metalhead Podcast. Metalhead Podcast. Go. You must listen. All right, so this is John, and I am in Atlanta, Georgia for this year's ProgPower USA 19. Hard to believe, 19. This is my 18th year. I've been a gold badge member for 19 years. There's 1 year I didn't come down, so this is a annual ritual thing that I do. I'm here for the mainly prog, some of the power, maybe. We'll see. But for anyone who's interested in this type of metal music, hopefully you'll enjoy this. And if you don't and you still listen, great, thank you. So today is day one. It is the kind of kickoff to the festival, because before it used to be a 2-day festival on Friday, Saturday, and over the years they've added Thursday and then a Wednesday, and now it's a 4-day full festival. So tonight, kicking things off at 4 p.m. Jay and George would be happy. Ross the Boss. They're followed by a band that I don't know if I want to watch them or not, because I'm not really into them. And there's some history between me and this band in the podcast. At 5:30 tonight, Glory Hammer. We'll see. Maybe I'll give them a little bit of time. Followed at 7 by a band from Sweden called Nocturnal Rites. I have to watch these guys for one reason and one reason only. They were on the same flight as a good friend of mine flying back from Japan into Chicago. He sat one row behind them. Apparently they got to talking. There were pictures taken and Facebook messages sent to me saying I have to watch them at ProgPower. Well, of course, I was going to check them out anyway, but now I have even more reason to see them. So they're at 7 tonight. Like I said, they're the third band. After them, they will have to tune out the 19 roster announcement video for days 1 and 2. And then followed by that will be the headliner from Australia, Voyager, who I'm looking forward to seeing. I've become a fan of theirs over the years. Actually, became a fan of theirs after seeing them on the old Wednesday night, which used to be in a much smaller venue in the same building, but a smaller venue, a little more intimate. And I liked what I saw, and I've become a big fan of theirs since then. So it's a short roster, only 4 bands tonight, but it's good that they're getting this thing going, because we look forward to this every year, those of us who come down here all the time. I have really not much to say other than I want to see Voyager, definitely want to see Nocturnal Rites. I'll check out Ross the Boss, even though I'm not a big Manowar fan. Might watch a little Glory Hammer, but I'm going to need to eat at some point, so maybe they get sacrificed. George probably wouldn't be happy, because I'm sure he wants me to see them, because I've been going on and on about them. But we'll see how it goes. The one thing I will do is I'll make my predictions now for next year, which seems kind of funny to do because they do the roster announcements on the first and third nights, but they break them up. Tonight's announcements are going to be for days 1 and 2. I'm just going to do the whole festival and say who I think might show up. I'll probably get them all wrong. Maybe I'll get one right. Who knows? Who cares? It's all for fun. I'm going to go ahead and go on the record and say maybe Arch Matheos will make an appearance next year, seeing as they have a new album coming out and there's no Fates Warning. And I do believe they want to do some shows for the second album, so that'd be kind of cool. Let's see. I think maybe King Crow might come back, because they were supposed to play this year and it got canceled. So I'm thinking maybe they're scheduled to come back for their second appearance for next year, which will still be cool because I do like them. And I'm drawing a blank now. I had a whole list of them driving down from Asheville this morning. But those are my 2 main ones. We'll see if I get that right. Oh, here's one. Maybe Mike Romeo from Symphony X, who has a solo album out this year called War of the Worlds Part 1. I'm wondering if he'll make an appearance, seeing as he has an album out and Symphony X is not really doing anything currently. So those are my 3 for right now. I may have some more that I talk about when I do the recap after tonight, but we'll see. That's it for now. I will be back discussing what I saw tonight and then talking about day 2. Okay, day 1 in the books for ProgPower USA 2018. And it was a pretty good day. Got it the day started out, headed over to the venue to pick up my gold badge. Ran into a friend that I've seen, I don't know how many years we've run into him, Ed from Charlotte, and hung out with him in line for a little bit, and actually the whole time in line. And then we went into the venue, did a little merch shopping real quick, just for a minute or two, then headed into the venue and struck out some good seats, kind of center stage. So we pretty much camped out there for the whole evening. He stayed a little longer than I did. I'll get to the point where I disappeared. But it was good hanging out with him and seeing him. I know TR and I have seen him a bunch of times and hung out and had some good laughs and enjoyed stuff. And we couldn't be any more opposite in the bands that we like. He's more the power side, I'm more the prog side. So it's kind of fun to hear us say what we like and don't like about the shows we see. So kicked off with Ross the Boss, the Manowar set. That was at 4 p.m., so it was an early set, and it was pretty good. I'm not a big Manowar fan, but the band sounded great. I did not realize Mike LaPond from Symphony X was playing bass for him, but it was a nice little surprise to see him up there just crushing it, and I thought they sounded good. The songs were fine. I'm just never got into Manowar, but I believe all the songs were from Ross the Boss's time with Manowar, and in 2 new songs from his album that's out. So they played a solid set for about an hour, got a good reception, and it was probably a good way to get the day started. The next band that followed is a band you've heard me mention numerous times on the podcast, Glory Hammer. What can I say? Glory Hammer is just not my thing. I watched about 3 songs, listened to them sing about hammers from space, watched a weird looking character come on stage with a mask and a big hammer and some hammer fights, and I checked out after 3 songs. That was enough. I'm not doing it anymore today. Just not my thing. Just not into dudes dressing up like Final Fantasy characters and doing gang singing and stuff like that. They got a great reception. They sounded good. It's just not my style of music. So I tried. Didn't last. Went outside, had a piece of pizza that I did not like, and I decided, well, I do want to see Nocturnal Rites. I got to go back in because I wanted to get my seat back, and fortunate for me, I was able to get my seat, and so that worked out. And going back real quick to Ross the Boss, I forgot to mention that our friend Lance and Julie, who listened to the podcast, Lance hung out with us too during Ross the Boss. So that was cool to hang out with him. I didn't get to see them the rest of the night, but I'm sure I'll see them a lot this weekend. But I bring Lance up for a reason, because I'll mention him when I go over the bands that were selected for next year's Wednesday and Thursday. So back to the evening. So I went in and watched about 3 more songs from Glory Hammer. Again, just didn't change my mind. Sounded good. They can play. Not my thing. So Nocturnal Rites come up. And I had asked George if I should check them out, and he said I should. Early, I guess they were death metal. Now they're strictly power metal. And again, I'm just not a power guy. I try. I can't get into all the gang singing. They sounded great, though. They put out a hell of a performance. They looked like they were having a great time on stage. And I watched the whole set because they flew back from Japan with my good friend Kurt. I was there flying into Chicago, and I guess Kurt ended up talking with them, took pictures with them, and I ended up running into them on the street. And I stopped them, and I said, "You guys are Nocturnal Rites, aren't you?" And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Hey, you were just on a plane with my friend Kurt, who took pictures," and they knew immediately who I was talking about. They said, "Yeah, we were supposed to look for you to see if you'd see us at the, if you'd stop us or anything." So it was kind of cool how that worked out. That 2 days before or day before, I'm getting a message from a friend of mine who's on a plane over the Pacific Ocean saying that he's talking with Nocturnal Rites. They played a good set for about an hour and I'd say 20 minutes. They were supposed to play an hour and a half. They played about an hour and 20. Fans loved them. My friend Ed thought they were great. So it worked out. So they then did the roster announcement for next year, which I'll save for after the final band, or after I talk about the last band here and then day 2. So the final band was Voyager from Australia, who I'm a big fan of. I did not become a big fan of them until a few years ago when I saw them in 2015 when they came and played 2 sets. They did the Wednesday show, and then they actually played on Friday night, and they were great. I know Voyager's not for everyone. They are kind of a progressive with some, I don't want to say pop tendencies, but they do have some more poppy type vocals. They do things a little differently. I don't know what it is about Australian bands. They may fall into a certain genre of metal, but they all seem to have their own little different flair. And I wouldn't say eclectic or eccentric ways about them, but they're all just slightly different than bands from their genre around the world, which makes them so unique and makes them so good. I think that's why I enjoy so many Australian bands. They cranked it out. Their set was great. They covered, I think, their last 5 albums, with the majority of the songs coming from the last 3. But they did play a few songs from I Am the Revolution, which is the album I like the most. It was just a good set. A little quirky at times. They're running around, having a good time. They do kind of a medley jam session where they'll just play all kinds of different songs. And I think this year they did some snippets from Cowboys from Hell. What else? Oh, they always do the Ghostbusters thing because the singer or keyboardist plays a guitar, and it was kind of fun. They then brought all these people up on stage in this little medley and played Big Bottom by Spinal Tap, and all these people on stage were just up there swinging their ass around, and it was kind of funny. It was very cool because they were all Voyager fans because they all had Voyager shirts on, and it was the crew was out there, and then they ripped into Toto's Africa, which it's kind of been a long-standing running meme this year. This song, for whatever reasons, keeps showing up in the ProgPower Facebook posts as a meme. It's very funny. Other than that, the set was great. They were supposed to play an hour and a half. They ended up playing like 20 songs and close to an hour and 50 minutes, I think, total was the show. So it was really enjoyable. Great stage presence. They were running around. I don't know how I couldn't be doing that. My neck would be just shot today. So anyway, day 1 in the books. Voyager was my band of the day. Everyone played great. Just the first 3 bands were not my style. Still checked them out, and it was fun. Today, day 2. I'll run through the list real quick. Opening is Cellar Darling from Switzerland, followed by Oceans of Slumber from the U.S., who are replacing King Crow. Dora comes on after them, and I have to apologize for the life of me. I cannot remember who she's replacing. That was a last-minute back out. And I just can't think of the band right now, so I apologize for that. And it's finished by Angra at 9 p.m. tonight, and they are playing a fan-picked set. It'll be interesting to see Angra because I think there's only one original member in the band now, even though I know the bass player's been around since, I think, 2000. But it's another new singer, I believe. His name's Fabio. Can't remember the band he's from again. I don't know, Rhapsody, Labyrinth. I don't know which one it is. So I'll check them out. We'll see. I mean, Oceans of Slumber is probably the one I'm more interested in just because I think their last 2 albums are pretty good. I definitely want to see Doro because I don't know much about her. I know George is a super fan. And she's kind of one of the queens of metal, so I'll definitely be interested. So another okay day overall. Be more just to have fun and hang out. So now, real quick, the list for next year's day 1s and 2s. I'll run through them real quick. I won't waste too much time. The first band on day 1 is Iron Mask, power metal. Don't know anything about them. Figures, huh? Second band is Secret Sphere from France. Actually, Iron Mask, I don't even know where they're from, to be honest with you. Maybe Belgium. I said France, I think. That's wrong. Secret Sphere is from France. My friend Ed had mentioned he was hoped they would come. They are coming. They're listed as like a power prog band. I heard a lot of power in that snippet during the announcement. We'll see. Third band, which I'm excited about, is Insomnium. I've never seen them. I know they've come to the States a few times, but it'd be kind of cool to see them. That's definitely the band I'm looking forward to on day 1. And then closing out is a band that I saw a while back. Don't know much about them. I know they've been around forever. A band from Denmark called Pretty Maids. Not my thing. Again, they went over real well in the announcement, and they went over really well when they played the last time here. I know they don't come to the States often, so that should be interesting to see them again. Day 2. Opening is a band called Tomorrow's Eve from Germany, which I was very surprised to see. I know they have a new album out this year for the first time in 10 years, but I've been a fan of these guys since 2000. When their debut came out called The Unexpected World. They are straight on prog metal. I think they're good. Some people may or may not, but I think that's a solid pick, and I was very happy to see that. The second band is Mayan, who is an offshoot of After Forever, who is an offshoot of Epica. People were pretty excited about this. I'm pretty much done with the symphonic metal stuff. Have been for a while, although I do like the first After Forever album a lot, and the first 2 albums of Epica are okay, but after that it's the same stuff for me over and over again. I'll probably check them out though, because I'm sure that everything will be done well, but I don't know. We'll see. Third band is a band that everyone's going crazy for on the forum right now. This band from Japan, and I hope I pronounce this right, Galnaris. Guess they're making their debut in the States or something. I mean, I'm wrong about that, but it seemed like they were kind of a power symphonic metal band. I read they have some prog in them. I didn't hear any when I saw the clip on the video screen. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll check them out just because they're from Japan, and I don't recall any bands from Japan playing here before. I could be wrong about that. Final band is Evergrey. They're the headline for day 2. I was not wowed by this. I liked the first 5 Evergrey albums. I have not particularly cared for the last 5 Evergrey albums. I know they're one of the house bands here. I know that Glenn loves them, and that's cool. And this is day 1 and 2 are the other 2 promoters, Nathan and Melton. So I get them bringing them in. I'll watch them, but I hope they do something special, just because I've seen them enough times. I was hoping for something a little different, but it's one of the bands that have kind of built this festival, so good for them. So that's it for day 1 and 2 for next year. So in talking in between sets, and stuff like that, I mentioned Lance earlier. He had mentioned, we were talking about what bands we'd want to see come for next year, and he had brought up a band I completely forgot to mention, and that was Conception. And they're a prog metal band from Norway. And I would be just jazzed up if they came, because they just recently got back together with their singer Roy Khan, who, if you're a Camelot fan, you'd know who that is. This would be great. I saw Conception, years ago, and they played the fest, and they had reunited for that, and they were amazing. So I'm kind of hoping that Lance, who claims that his friend had told him about Conception possibly playing as a pick, I'll give him credit for mentioning it to me, because I completely forgot it. I forgot to throw out Isan just because he had a new album out, and I know Glenn sometimes likes to have that one band that is kind of outside the box for the festival. So maybe we'll get that. So I wanted to mention those last 2 band picks just in case they do get announced. For all I know, I won't get one right this year. Who knows? I'll take one and I'll be happy. So that's it for day 1 in the books. Gonna meander around and get ready for day 2, and we'll have more for you later. Okay, this is an addendum to day 1 coverage. I screwed up. I should have said 2 things instead of the 2 that I originally said. The first is Daring Voyager's medley set. They did not do Ghostbusters. I believe it was Beverly Hills Cop on the keytar. I should have gotten that. I enjoyed that. And the second thing is, I said they played songs from their last 5 albums. They only have 6 albums. So they played songs from 5 of their 6 albums. It's a little more correct. That's it. Okay. Day 2 of ProgPower USA is in the books. We are halfway through. Hard to believe it's going so fast. So here's my recap from last night. Early on in the day, met up with podcast friends Julie and Lance and headed over to the Porter Beer Bar, which is a very famous beer bar here in Atlanta, and it's got wide recognition around the country as a great beer bar. Went over for a few beers and food to kind of prime up to get started. And then we actually headed back to our hotels and then headed to the venue where we met up with a friend of mine named Ed. And staked out a claim in the venue, and we ended up staying there for pretty much the whole time. Kicking off the day's events was a band called Cellar Darling. They're from Switzerland, and if I can pronounce this right, I believe 3 of the members from the band were in Illuviti. Am I saying that right? Probably not. They were in that band for a while. They left and formed their own band, as far as I know. So they kicked off the day, and I had listened to their album prior to coming down to ProgPower. George had told me to check them out because he liked the former band a little bit, I guess, and he thought the album from Cellar Darling was good. So I listened, and I was like, it's okay. It's not bad. But seeing them live, I was pretty much blown away by the fact that it just sounded so much better. The heavier use of guitars, the drums were more kind of a pounding sound, and it mixed really well with the kind of folky thing that they do. And I actually liked it so much that I got up from my seat halfway through their set to get their CD because I didn't want to go out there later and find it wasn't there. And lo and behold, there was a bunch of people standing in line buying merch for them. So I got one and went back in and watched the rest of the show. So I think I missed like basically half of one song, half of another. It was a great set. They sounded great. The venue inside was not full, but the reception they got was pretty incredible. And they got a standing ovation after they were done, all across. It wasn't just, a few people here and there that liked them. It was a lot of people gave them a really good reception afterwards. So good for them. It was a great way to kick off the day. And probably of all the bands yesterday, they were my favorite. And it was the first one. And it was the one I was just like, we'll see how it goes. So I'm glad that I got to enjoy a band that I wasn't thinking I would enjoy as much during the day. So that was a great start. They were followed by Oceans of Slumber, who were replacing King Crow. And while I was really bummed that King Crow couldn't make it, I thought Oceans of Slumber was a good replacement from my perspective. And they put on a good set, a little more, what's the best word? It was a little more, it was heavy, it was atmospheric, but there wasn't much interaction with the crowd like there was with Cellar Darling. So they came out, they played, they left. I think the only time we heard any words, any talking was at the very end. They thanked us for the reception they got. So it was good. They're a solid band. I like them. Seemed like a lot of people were there to see them, and it was all right. I was hoping for something slightly different. I don't know what I was looking for, but the band played great. Maybe it was just a little too kind of. It wasn't that there wasn't a lot of action or a lot of energy. It just was very kind of methodical the way they went about it, and very kind of ethereal at points, if that makes sense. So, but a solid performance, and I enjoyed it. They were followed up by Doro, who, as I said yesterday, I still can't remember who she's replaced last night, but she put on a great show. I don't know much about her in terms of her music. I haven't really listened much to Warlock or anything like that. I'm sure right now George is shaming me, but it was solid. I enjoyed it. A lot of energy. I swear I've seen half of her band play for other bands at ProgPower in the past. But she made me feel old, and she's older than me, meaning she was just running around like crazy and having a great time and headbanging and trying to get the crowd into it. And everyone was enjoying her show, and it was a lot of fun to watch her on stage. So it was a good set. I enjoyed it. The final band was Angra from Brazil. If you're not familiar with them, they're pretty well known in the kind of power metal, somewhat prog metal, not really that much prog metal, but in the power metal world. I liked their early stuff, like the first half of their catalog I liked a lot. The second half I'm like, it's okay. It's nothing special. But and there's only one original member in the band now too. So it was a little strange to see them. Each time I've seen them at ProgPower, it's they're less original members. And I get it. It happens with bands. But they put on a good performance. It was a fan-picked set, but what I didn't realize is it was a half fan-picked set, and the other half was the new album Omni that they played all the way through. I stayed as long as I could. I think I got in probably 13 of their 17 or 18 songs they played, and at that point my back was just killing me because I had been sitting for the whole time, and this venue seats are not that great. So I saw most of their show, and it was good. It was pretty well performed. They got a great reception, but I just didn't feel married to watching the whole thing, so I gave myself a break and came back. But I'm glad I got to see most of their set, because the other 2 times I only saw part of their sets. So nice show, nice day. It was good. It was a solid day. But like I said, for me, Cellar Darling kind of won it, and they were the first band, and they were the least I knew about of all the bands. So good day. So today, day 3, which is now, these are all of the main promoter, Glenn's. These are all his picks that he made. The first 2 days were done by Milton and Nathan, who have come on in the last few years to handle the Wednesday, Thursday days. Starting off today, it's early. We kick off around 2. It's a band called Manimal from Sweden. They're a metal, just I guess a heavy metal band. Don't know anything about them. Not sure if I'll watch much of them. We'll see. From what I heard, I was like, it's all right. Following them is Persephone from Andorra, and I will definitely watch their set. I like them. I don't know what I think about them overall. I think they're a pretty good band, but I want to see if they can do what they do on album live. So I'm looking forward to that. Following them is a band called Bloodbound from Sweden. I guess they're a power metal band. Don't know much about them. Again, listened to a little bit of them before the festival started, and wasn't my thing. So we'll see if I watch them or if I decide to get some food at that point. They are followed by Labyrinth from Italy, another power metal band. I may watch them just because I've heard so much about them. We'll see. I'll probably catch a good portion of their set. They are followed by Redemption from the US. I'm a little lukewarm on Redemption. Prog metal band. I like all their stuff. I have everything. But the last few albums is kind of the same album for me. I know it's probably heresy to some people here, especially seeing as now the main guy from Evergraze, now their singer Tom, is singing for them. Tom Unglin, I think is his name. And it's no longer Ray from Fate's Warning. So I do want to see how he sounds, and I do want to see how they perform. I'm assuming that will be packed to, every seat will be taken for that, because he is the guy, Tom, from Evergraze. He's one of the house bands, basically. He's always here almost every year. It seems like he just comes to come and hang out with everybody. And I think that's actually pretty cool, considering he's coming from Sweden. So I'll probably check that out, but I do want to be there for the end of their set, because they will do the roster announcement for 2019 days 3 and 4. And then following them will be Sons of Apollo, who actually replaced James LaBrie from Dream Theater, which I was fine seeing him, but I actually wasn't stressed or pissed or upset that he wasn't coming, and it was Sons of Apollo, who I don't really care about either. But I'm a big Derek Sherinian fan, and so while he won't be playing any of his solo material Planet X stuff, I want to watch him play. And it's, an all-star band with Mike Portnoy and Bumblefoot on guitar. He'll have like 47 necks, and he'll play one the whole time, but he'll always have his double neck in hand. Billy Sheenan on bass, who's always cool to see. And I can't even, for the life of me, I'm going to get killed for not remembering the singer's name right now. Jeff DeSoto. So it'll be cool. I'll enjoy it. I don't know how long I'll last for it, but I definitely want to make sure I see most of their set. As far as they're playing their whole album and just a few tracks from Dream Theater or something like that. But that'll be day 3. We'll report back on that, and we'll see how it goes. All right, day 3 of ProgPower USA is in the books. Hard to believe this festival's just flying by. But another day, a bunch of bands seen, another good day. Let's just kick right into it. Day started off with Manimal from Sweden. Didn't know anything about them, just that they were pretty much just a metal band. I don't think they were any power progressive to any extent from listening to them when I was prepping for the festival. But I wanted to get there to see Persephone that followed them, so I wanted to get a seat. And I was glad I did, because I thought they were pretty good. A lot of energy, a lot of power in terms of oomph in their sound. And they seemed to be having a good time, and it was their first U.S. show ever. So that was actually turned out to be a good way to start the day. Just some straight ahead, good, heavy, hard metal. So good for them, good opener. And I was pleasantly surprised again with another band that I didn't know anything about. They were followed by Persephone from Andorra, and wow. They just went nonstop for their hour and just cranked out a ton of music. I still don't know what I think about them. I like them, and there's days that I really enjoy them, and days I'm like, eh. And it's funny, had this conversation with our friend Julie and Lance. We were talking, and she said the same thing about them. There's days she loves them and days that she needs to take a break, and I feel the same way. But I was really glad to see them. They played without their bassist, who I didn't hear why he couldn't make it. So 2 guitars, no bass on stage, and it still sounded great. They are hell of musicians, and I think they probably, for me, will steal the most intense show of the fest, unless something crazy happens today, which I don't see happening. But anyway, I'm glad I got to finally see them. The next band is the first band I have not seen at this year's fest, and that was Bloodbound. I had to take a break, and I came back to my hotel and was going to probably crash for a little bit because I knew it was going to be a long evening, and I looked at the weather, and it said it was going to rain at 6 o'clock, so I bolted back up to the venue. Didn't rain, fortunately, and ended up catching all of Labyrinth's set, which I had no intentions of watching. Ended up being all right. Not my thing overall, but I'm glad I got to see them. I know a lot of people liked them, and they put on a good show. They were into it. The fans were into it. Just not my type of music, but nevertheless fun to watch. Then the following band was Redemption, who I've maybe mentioned before, maybe not, that I'm a little iffy on their more recent stuff. Everything just kind of sounds the same to me. I appreciate how good they are. They should be in my wheelhouse because they're a prog metal band. But I'm taking a break from them a little bit. But I wanted to see them because the lead singer, or the main guy from Evergrey, Tom, was now their lead vocalist, as Ray from Fate's Warning is no longer their lead vocalist. So I wanted to see how they sounded with him. And I thought they were good. You could see the difference between the vocal styles. I think Tom was kind of nervous. He even said he was up on stage. He's a mainstay at ProgPower. He's part of the ProgPower family. He's always here. He actually comes years when Evergrey's not even playing. He'll just show up and hang out. So I wanted to give him that due, just because he's part of this family here. And lo and behold, as they were doing their songs, they were putting up images of the album covers. They put an image up of the band with Ray as the vocalist, with the other band members, and I'm thinking, I think he's going to come out, because that seems very odd that you have a new vocalist and you're showing a picture of the old vocalist up there. And literally, as I'm thinking that, and no one's picking up on this, by the way, everyone's just kind of looking around and saying, why is this picture there? He just runs out on stage and sings a song with them, which I thought was very cool. The whole venue erupted because he's a mainstay also, and he's a fan favorite. My friend Babs was sitting in front of me, and she was enjoying it quite a bit. She likes Ray, just put it that way. And he just sounded amazing. And it was kind of special because, as far as I know, he's moved to Spain. So he came all the way over. So I'm assuming he came over to do other stuff here back in the States. But that was very cool. And I thought, that's really nice. Now I'm actually enjoying this set more because there's something special. Well, then, 2 songs later, Nick Van Dyke, the main guy behind Redemption, announces that one of the guitarists from the first album was there, and out walks Chris Poland. And if you guys know your old metal history, Chris Poland was the guitarist for Megadeth in the early years. So he came out and they played a song, and then he wouldn't let Chris Poland leave. Of course, I'm sure they planned this. And they played Peace Sells by Megadeth. And I was just like, this is fucking awesome. Chris Poland is out on stage. Who would have thought? So they ended up being a really fun set to watch, and so I ended up enjoying them. And it made it more fun to put it all in perspective. So after that, they did the roster announcement for day 3 and 4 for next year, which I'll get to at the end. And then it was closed by Sons of Apollo, which is the super group of prog metal, featuring Mike Portnoy and Derek Sherinian, both formerly of Dream Theater, Billy Sheen on bass, Bumblefoot on guitar, and Ron Thal, I think is his name, and then Jeff Scott Soto. I think that's it. Yeah, JSS, as he goes by, as their vocalist. And they played this super long set for only having one album. I think I left after 2.5 hours. I just couldn't take it. I made it to the encore, and that's it. I'm done. I'm checking out because the seats are so uncomfortable in the venue this year. I don't know why. And I was already there for God knows how many hours today or yesterday. So, but they put on a very good show. Played a couple of Dream Theater covers. Played their whole album, as far as I know. They did a bunch of solo stuff, and they played a Queen cover, and it was fun. I'm still not big on the band overall. I just think their sound's okay, and I'm a huge Derek Sherinian fan, so that's one of the main reasons I wanted to see them, because I haven't seen him live for, going back to when he toured with Planet X. And they played the old Jacks in Springfield, Virginia. That's going back like 15, 16 years ago. So I hadn't seen him since then. So I definitely wanted to see him live. Fun show, though. They did a nice job. Fans were really into it. But at this point, as we're closing in at 1 o'clock in the morning, me being an old man, I was like, all right, I'm going back to the hotel. So it was good. I enjoyed it. A nice way to cap the evening. Today, day 4, I'm going to run through these real quick and tell you who I'm going to see and who I'm not, because I'm not watching everybody today. That I can tell you. It's going to start off with Triosphere from Norway. I don't know much about them. I probably will watch them because I want to get up to the venue to see what band merch is there. But I'll check them out. They're going to be followed by Eclipse from Sweden. Again, don't know much about them. We'll see how I feel if I want to just kind of wander around, talk to some friends and stuff. They will then be followed by Soen. I think that's how you say the name, from Sweden. Definitely want to see them because of Martin Lopez, formerly of Opeth. Their drummer is in the band. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. I don't know if I'll watch the whole set, but I do want to see it. The next band, who I really want to see bad, is Vjor from the Netherlands. And that's with Anneke van Giersbergen, formerly of The Gathering. I definitely want to see them. I really enjoyed their album a lot. I don't know if I would have it as high as I had it last year, because I was really big on it last year, but I've kind of cooled a little bit on it. Still like it, still enjoy it, but I do want to see her live because she's my favorite singer and has been for years, and I just enjoy every time she's been there. She's been there with Devin. Actually, she's only been there twice, but I've seen her 3 times there, 3 different shows. She played 3 shows the time she came. So all the 3 times I saw her there was great, and every time I've seen her with The Gathering, she was great, so I'm looking forward to that. They are followed by Ailstorm, and I have no idea what I'm going to do during this set, because I'm going to feel like I need to put a patch over my eye and have a peg leg and drink beers and sing songs. Or I could just sit there and watch them and then come back to the hotel room. So we'll see. I don't know. I know people love them. They're just big on them. I'm assuming it will just be, you won't be able to move in there, because I think a lot of people have fun. Then the headline is, I think her name is Tarja. She's formerly the singer, formerly of Nightwish. I'm probably not going to watch her. I know she's the final headline, but not a big fan of Nightwish, and I'm not a big fan of her operatic singing. So it's nothing personal. It's just not my thing. So I don't think I'll make it to her. So that's it for day 4. Now, real quick, so I'm breathing heavier. No, just kidding. This is the announcement that was made last night. Pretty interesting. I didn't get one pick for 4 days. None. I am terrible and I suck. All my friends here at the fest got picks, except me. It's okay, because there's some damn good bands coming. Real quick, Friday, opening, Windrose from Italy. Don't know them. It's the first time I ever heard of them, so I'll check them out later. Second band from Germany, Subsignal. This kind of caught me by surprise, because I didn't think they would be heavy enough to play here at the fest. But that's an interesting pick. You know, that's for the prog metal fans. I'll definitely check them out, but not sure what I think about them. I never really got into them, but I'll check them out. Next band, it says here from Finland, but they're from the Faroe Islands. It's okay. Barren Earth. I know George and Will really be excited about hearing that, but I am, and I'm going to enjoy that. And that's all that matters, is that I'll enjoy it. Following them, surprise, I didn't see this coming, Psychotic Waltz. Very cool. I am a big fan of the first 2 albums. They are I wouldn't call them one of the main godfathers of prog metal from the early 90s, but they're definitely in that second tier group behind, the Fates Warnings, Queensryches, and Dream Theater bands, and the Crimson Glory, stuff like that. They're right behind that group, so that'll be fun to see. Following them is Orden Ogan. I guess that's how you say their name. from Germany. I think I saw them once before. I think TR and I saw them once. If I remember correctly, they were fun to watch. They're a power metal band. Not my thing, but they put on a good show, so maybe I'll watch them. Who knows? And then they're followed by, and this is no surprise to me, place went crazy. Prog metal band from Sweden, Seventh Wonder. I've never got these guys. I've tried so hard to like them. I don't dislike them. I just don't. I'm not into them. I'll probably watch them a little bit since they're the headliner. We'll see. Let's go to Saturday, where I made the loudest screams in the venue, only because I was shocked to see there's a doom band. And they're not really, per se, traditional, current doom, the more traditional doom, I should say. Sorcerer from Sweden is making their U.S. debut after a gazillion years. I was really jazzed to hear about this. I'm going to be pretty psyched to see them. That's going to be a lot of fun. Their last two albums they're only 2 albums, minus all those demos and the compilations from years ago. I love both albums, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Then an original band from the first ProgPower a gazillion years ago is making a return to the 20th. Jagpanzer from USA. I was like, wow, that is a shock. Very cool. I'm not a Jagpanzer fan, but I'll watch them definitely, just because it's one of the original bands, 10 bands or whatever they had back in 2001. They are going to be followed by Caligula's Horse from Australia. I've tried to like these guys and get into them. I can't. I don't know why. Maybe I need to give them more time. But I thought it was a really cool pick. The venue just went nuts for them, so I'll definitely check that out. I think they'll probably be a fun band to watch live. They're followed by Poets of the Fall. Don't know anything about them. Seemed like everyone was really excited about them, so I'll see what they're like. I'm guessing it's probably not my style, given the flip-flopping nature of prog and power back and forth for bands. The fifth band for Saturday, which, about time. It's been a while. Threshold. I'm a fan of these guys. Although I haven't been a super fan of the last 3 releases, like some people, I do like their whole catalog, so I'll definitely want to see them. They're one of my bands that I was really big on back in the 2000 explosion, 2000s, early, 4 or 5 years, just explosion of prog metal bands. They were definitely one of my favorites. And then a band that the place went ape shit for, and it's a heavyweight band in terms of the people in it. Give us your Iced Earth, give us your Blind Guardian. Demons and Wizards are going to be making their appearance. I'll probably watch it just because of who they are. Probably not going to be into it. I have to fear for my life for dragons flying around, but it'll be fun. So that's a wrap up for day 3. A lot of mumbling and bumbling from me. I'll do your day 4 at some point, but we're winding down. Okay, day 4, ProgPower USA 19 is in the books. We are done. It is over, and another great year it was. Let me recap the day real quick, and then I'll give you my thoughts on the whole festival. And that'll be it for this year. Kicked off the day with the band Triosphere. Today I wasn't really that interested in a lot of bands, but I figured out what the hell I'm here, I might as well check them out. And they were pretty good, actually. They were... I believe they're a 3-piece, but they had 4 people on stage. They were, I think, were just, for the most part, just a metal band. They weren't a lot of power. There wasn't a lot of prog to them. Just straight ahead metal, and they put out a good opening set, and I was fine with that, and I enjoyed it. And it was a good way to kick the day off. I didn't watch the whole set. I think I missed a couple songs at the end just to get up and walk around a little. Long week, you're sitting in those chairs forever. You got to get up and move. I'm an old man, so that's how it works. But I did come back for the second band, Eclipse from Sweden. They were not my thing. Reminded me a lot of late 80s, just hard rock. They weren't really glam metal or anything like that, but they just were not my thing. So they were very excited to be there, and they performed just fine. It just wasn't my thing. So I only watched about 4 or 5 of their songs. Then I headed out, and I can't remember what I did, to be honest with you. But then came up Soen, who I have listened to a little bit, haven't really gotten into it much, but I wanted to see them because their drummer Martin Lopez is the former drummer from Opeth, and got good seats for that and watched their set, and I thought they were actually pretty cool. There were some nice moments in there. They have a touch of Tool to them, I guess. Not a super Tool fan, but it still sounded good, and it was great to see Martin on stage again. Last time I think I saw him in the States was 14 years ago, so he put on a great performance just like the rest of the band. As a matter of fact, I ran into him afterwards and talked to him for a few minutes, so that was kind of cool too. They were followed up by the band Vjor, which, if you guys have heard me talk about them before, that's Annika van Giersbergen, formerly of The Gathering. It's her band, which is kind of a metalized version of The Gathering Storm, which she played in 2 years ago, I guess. Not this year, not last year. The year before that, yeah, when Fates Warning played. So, and then that's also the same year that Devin Townsend played. So it was very much the band I wanted to see for the whole festival, and I enjoyed the show a lot. I actually like the album. I know some people don't. They think it's kind of mailed in. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion about it. I thought they sounded great, a lot of energy. She's my favorite singer, so that was all I was caring about. They did play some Gathering songs. They played some stuff that she did when she guested on an Arian album. I believe she did a Devin Townsend song. So it was cool. I enjoyed it a lot. They may factor into my, final bands of the weekend. So after that, I was pretty much, I didn't have to stay anymore if I didn't want to, because I wasn't interested in the next two bands, to be honest with you. Nothing personal, it just wasn't my thing. But I decided I wanted to see Storm because I kept hearing about them. And I'll be honest, definitely not my thing. I'm not into pirate metal or R metal or whatever you want to call it, Shiver Me Timbers metal. It was okay, whatever. I know people really like that. They had a gigantic duck on stage, though, so that was kind of entertaining. And I guess I left a little too soon to miss the duck go out into the audience and get bounced around. It was a huge duck, too, by the way. And I think at some point it finally hit the ground and it just got stomped on and killed. I think I made it through 5 songs, and that's when I tapped out. I grabbed the rope and I said, that's it, I'm done. And I left because I did not stay for the one headline. I only missed 2 bands the whole festival. One of them was the headline. That was Tarja, whatever her name is, formerly of Nightwish. Just not a big fan of the operatic singing. I haven't even actually listened to any of her solo work, and I'm not even a Nightwish fan. There's nothing personal. At that point, I had watched 18 out of 19 bands, and for the most, I'd watched almost the whole sets of each band, which is a first for me at the festival. So I decided to check out at that point. But it was a good day. Got to hang out with my friends Lance and Julie, who are friends of the podcast. They listen all the time, and they post on the Facebook page from time to time. Got to hang out with my friend Ed again, and so it was cool. Oh, and Babs got to see her and her friends, and so it was good. So overall, as a festival, I thought it was much better than I expected. I actually watched more than I thought I would, but I walked away with a few favorites. I'm not going to put them in any order, just because I think that's a little too hard for me this year. I don't know why, it just is. But the 3 bands I walked out with liking the most were Voyager from Wednesday night, Cellar Darling from Thursday, and Vjor. Those are my 3, and that's probably the order actually too, from 3 to 1. So great festival, like I said. Everything was good in terms of the venue as usual. Glenn and his wife Jen put on a great festival. The staff and all the crew are great. So another good year. Really happy. So real quick, for next year, let's see. Who am I going to want to see next year? Definitely Insomnium, Tomorrow's Eve, Barren Earth. I know Will and George will be clamoring to come down for that one. Psychotic Waltz, Sorcerer, of course, and Threshold. Those are my bands for next year. I'll talk about them, obviously, next year. For anyone who listened, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. All 4 or 5 of you. Just kidding. Probably 2 or 3. Anyway, that's it for ProgPower 19 for 2018.